Okay, we're going to continue on with rule 1 and rule 2 of indices, but look at some trickier examples. Okay, so remember that rule 1 is a to the m times a to the n is equal to a to the power m plus n, and rule 2 is a to the m divided by a to the n is equal to a to the power m minus n. Okay, so when you multiply, you add the indices, but when you divide, you subtract the indices. Okay, but we're just going to look at some examples that are a wee bit trickier. So let's try an example 1, which is going to be x to the 1/5 multiplied by x to the 1/3. Okay, so since we're multiplying, we know that we need to add the powers. Okay, now the complication we've got here now is to add together fractions, but we're going to use the smile and kiss method to do so. So it's going to be 1 times 5 plus 1 times 3 over 5 times 3. So 1 times 5 is 5, plus 3 times 1 is 3, over 5 3s are 15, and that's going to be 8 over 15. So that's going to be x to the 8/15. So let's just go over that again. So multiply, we're going to add the powers, 1/5 plus 1/3. So it's 1 times 3 is 3, plus 1 times 5 is 5, over 5 times 3 is 15. 5 plus 3 is 8, 8 over 15, x to the 8/15. Okay, example 2. Example 2, we've got x to the 1/4 multiplied by x to the 3/5. Okay, so again, we're multiplying, so we're going to add the powers. So the powers are 1/4 and 3/5, so 1/4 plus 3/5. Okay, kiss and smile. 1 times 5 is 5, plus 3 times 4 is 12, over 4 5s are 20, 5 plus 12 is 17, 17 over 20, x to 17 over 20. So what we're doing here is combining rule 1 of indices, which is multiply, add the powers, with how do you add fractions, which is the kiss and smile method. Okay, example 3. 3x to the 2/3 multiplied by 5x to the 1/5. Okay, so remember that we only apply our rules of indices, our rules of powers, to the powers. 3 times 5 is as normal, that's 15. Okay, so 3 times 5 is 15 is normal, but with the rule 1 of indices applies to the powers. So what do we do there? Multiply, we add the powers. Okay, so it's 2/3 plus 1/5, kiss and smile. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 times 3 is 3, over 3 times 5 is 15. 10 plus 3 is 13, 13/15. And it's 15x to the 13/15. Okay, example 4. 7x to the 3/4 multiplied by 3x to the 2/3. Okay, 7 times 3, dead easy, 21. Let's deal with the powers. So multiply, add the powers, 3/4 plus 2/3. Okay, kiss and smile again. So 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 times 4 is 8, over 3 times 4 is 12, 9 plus 8 is 17, 17/12, 21x to the 17/12. Okay, example 5. 8x to the 3/5 multiplied by 2x to the 1/3. Okay, 8 times 2 is 16. Remember, we only apply the rules of powers to the powers, which is when you multiply, you add the powers, that's rule 1. Okay, so that's 3/5 plus 1/3, kiss and smile. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 times 5 is 5, over 5 3s are 15, 9 plus 15 is 14, 14/15. 16x to the 14/15. Okay, example 6. 9x to the 3/7 divided by 3x to the 1/4. Okay, so remember we apply the rules of indices only to the powers, so 9 divided by 3 is just 3. Remember rule 2 is a to the power m divided by a to the power n is equal to a to the power m minus n, so we're going to subtract the powers. Okay, so 3/7 take away 1/4, kiss and smile. 3 4s are 12, minus 1 times 7 is 7, over 7 4s are 28, 12 take away 7 is 5, that's 5 28ths. Okay, so that's going to be 3x to the power 5 28ths. Let's try one more example, which is going to be example 6. Okay, so that's going to be 26x to the 9/10 divided by 2x to the 1/5. Okay, so 26 divided by 2 is 13. Subtract the powers, and it's 9/10 take away 1/5. Kiss and smile, 9 5s are 45, minus 1 times 10 is 10, over 10 5s are 50, so 45 take away 10 is 35, 35 over 50. We can simplify that by top and bottom by 5, and that's going to be 7 over 10. 13x to the 7/10, final answer. Okay, now we're going to look at rule 3. Okay, now rule 3 of indices, let's just recap. Rule 1, a to the power m times a to the power n is equal to a to the power m plus n. So when you multiply, you add the powers. Then there was rule 2. Rule 2 was a to the power m divided by a to the power n is equal to the power m minus n. Now rule 3 is a to the power m brought to the power n is equal to a to the power m times n. So let's go over a quick example of that. So let's say we had x cubed and we squared x cubed. That would give us, well, you might think that could give me x to the 5 or x to the 6, so which one is it? It's actually x to the 6. So let's justify that. So x cubed is x times x times x, and then if we're squaring it, that is going to be multiplied by x times x times x again. Okay, so that is x times x times x times x times x times x, that's 6, that's x to the power 6. Okay, now how do we get there? By multiplying the powers. So a to the power m brought to the power m is equal to a to the power m times n. So that's rule 3 of indices. Make sure you've got it down. A to the power m brought to the power n is equal to a to the power m times n. Okay, so let's try an example 1. X to the power 5 brought to the power 3. So what do? Multiply the powers. 5 times c is 15, x to the 15, example 2. Y to the 3 brought to the power 6. Multiply the powers. 3 times 6 is 18, y to the power 18, example 3. T to the 4 brought to the power minus 5. 4 times minus 5 is minus 20, t to the minus 20. Okay, example 4. G to the minus 8 brought to the power 5. Minus 8 times 5, g to the minus 40, example 5. G to the minus 3 brought to the minus 2. Multiply the powers. Minus 3 times minus 2 is plus 6. G to the power 6, example 6. T to the power 7 brought to the power 3. Okay, so 7 times 3 is 21. T to the 21. Okay, example 7. 2x to the power 5 brought to the power 3. Okay, so a wee bit different this time because we've got a number on the front to contend with. We know to multiply the powers, so it's going to be x to the 15. Now remember that rules of powers only apply to the powers. So 2 to the power 3, well, we don't do 2 times 3 there. We don't use the rule of powers because that's not a power. So we just do 2 cubed as normal. And what's 2 cubed? 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 8x to the 15. So we only apply the rule of multiplying the powers to the powers themselves, not to anything else. Okay, so example A, 3x cubed brought to the power 2. So rule of powers, multiply them together. 3 times 2, 3 times 2 is 6, x to the 6. However, 3 squared is 9. So it's 9x to the power 6. Example 9. 5x cubed brought to the power 2. Okay, so with the powers, rule 3 is a power brought to a power. We multiply the powers together. 3 times 2 is 6. But 5 squared is 25. We only apply the rules of powers to the powers themselves. Okay, example 10. 9x to the minus 2 brought to the power 2. Okay, so minus 2 times 2 is minus 4x to the minus 4. And 9 squared, 9 times 9 is 81, example 11. 7x to the 9 brought to the power 2. Okay, so 9 times 2, that's what I do with the powers. Rule 3, 9 times 2, bring a power to a power. 9 times 2 is 18, x to the 18. But 7 squared is 49, 49x to the power 8.